Back when the Sega Saturn released in the US in 1995, I remember going to my neighbor's house to check it out. Growing up in a household where we had a Sega Genesis, I was eager to see Sega's next-gen platform at the time. While it had an odd launch in the US and a steep price point, I have fond memories of playing Sega Rally with my friend, as well as his bootleg sampler disc with a demo of Clockwork Knight. Shortly after, I remember us playing Knights a ton as well. It wasn't until 2 years ago, though, that I purchased myself a second-hand Sega Saturn and decided to do some collecting for the system. Well, with retro gaming currently, one of the biggest aspects is finding ways to get the best visual output to display on HD TVs. While platforms like GameCube and N64 have viable HDMI output options thanks to the Eon products recently, there are some platforms without as many viable options. Recently, a company emerged called LevelHike that is producing HDMI output options for various retro platforms, such as the Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, Neo Geo, and heck, even the PSP 2000 and 3000 model. For this video, I wanted to showcase the Sega Saturn HDMI product they've created. So, is this a product that provides results? Let's find out. Upon opening up the somewhat generic brown box containing the product, the HDMI device itself felt fairly solid, with a switch to choose between 4x3 and 16:9 ratio. You'll plug the micro USB cable into the device and then power it via USB, which can be powered directly through your TV if you have USB ports built in. Then just plug the AV HDMI converter cable from the Saturn into the HDMI device and you're good to go. As I fired up the Saturn and started up Sega Rally, I immediately saw a much cleaner image output from the opening demo of the game. That fuzzy output from composite cables on an HD TV were no longer there, and everything just looked so much sharper. In-game heads-up displays were sharpened immensely, and colors were just more vibrant overall. While this device does not bump up the visual resolution outside of what the Saturn can do, the difference is still very noticeable. However, there are a few Saturn games that actually ran in a high-res mode, such as Virtua Fighter 2 and Dead or Alive. These games actually run at a native 704x480 resolution, and this device provides the jump up for them. Also, it is nice to see the option for a 16:9 mode. While purists will stick to a 4x3 ratio, the option to change it instantly with the flick of a button on the side is nice. Throughout the main tests of the device, I have to say I was very impressed. Even control input wasn't as laggy as I expected it to be. When converting the analog to digital signal, it is expected to have a bit of frame lag. The lag I experienced in control input seemed like no more than maybe 3 frames, maybe 5 frames of lag, and I know that sounds like a lot, but realistically, it was barely noticeable throughout my tests. I don't have any way of measuring it, but again, from what I've noticed, I didn't really feel anything was taking away from the experience. I know the word lag does scare people, and especially with the fighting game community, but honestly, it really was barely noticeable. I was able to pull off moves in Virtua Fighter 2, Dead or Alive, and even X-Men Children of the Atom with complete ease. You win! One thing I will mention is the device does seem to get a bit warm after some use, but I don't see it being a real issue. I've ran the device for hours straight, and it never got hot or warm enough to the point of concern. I will admit, I had some reservations toward LevelHike's product, but after testing it for quite some time, I have to say this is a must-own for Sega Saturn owners. For the incredibly reasonable $30 price point, this device does exactly what it is intended to do, which breathes new life into the Saturn for HD TV displays. If you already have something like a FrameMeister, then this product is clearly not for you. However, if you're in the market for a reasonably priced HDMI adapter for your Sega Saturn, so you can actually play games on an HD TV without that fuzzy look, then I highly recommend this. If you're interested in the device, check out the link down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button down below. If you have any other questions about the LevelHike Sega Saturn HDMI cable, please drop me a comment down below. I'd love to answer any questions that you guys have. And as always, everyone, game on!